Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sierra, and on this channel, I like to talk about books, writing, and all that good stuff. This video is going to be a wrap up of November. All right, let's go all the way back to the beginning of 2024, approximately December of 2023, when I made my first vision board. And my goal for writing at that time was blogging. So I really wanted to get into that space more than anything. I had like a few ideas. I had Leo and Dahlia, the project that I'm currently working on, and I had like a few other ideas here and there. And I had started a little bit of Project Fury before I called it Project Fury. And I had a little bit of Leo and Dahlia, but things weren't sticking all that much, to be quite honest. And I felt like I was like really rushing to get to the end of the story. I don't know why. I was trying to really make it. I think I was trying to make it more like Wattpad appropriate, like just like a fast paced story. And even then, a lot of stories on Wattpad aren't even that fast paced. They're like decently paced. I don't know what I was doing, but that was the intention at the time, was to do blogging. So I started doing that through. I think I did it through WordPress. I think I did it through WordPress. I can't remember, but I did that for about good 6 months or so. And around that time, just like everybody else in this economy, because this economy sucks, that couldn't last all that long because things were expensive. So I ended up quitting doing that. Um, Made sure all like the accounts were deactivated, make sure nothing was charged to my account. So all of my links to my blog, clearly they don't work anymore because the blog's no longer up. But from that experience, I really just like learned to write, which is really weird to say. I really just like learned to write, especially like in a blogging type of writing style. I learned a little bit about like SEO and just like how to create my own site, how to create my own content, what I wanted to write, try to plan it out, try to do that type of thing because I haven't done that since high school. Yeah, it was a huge adjustment and it was fun, but it wasn't feasible. So I ended up quitting that, and then I moved to writing a little bit more. That's when I actually did a writing retreat. Was it last year? It was last year. It was December of last year where I did a writing retreat. It was virtual, and that was a lot of fun. I got to get some ideas on like how to query, how to write a query letter, how to find publishers, what makes a good first page, different ways to create storytelling, and all that kind of stuff. That was really fun. I got a lot of resources out of that, and then I just stopped. Here's a fun fact about me: I am really good at starting stuff. I'm not that good at finishing them. So there's a lot of Google Docs, a lot of Google Docs, a lot of documents in general that are all started but never finished. Like I'll start something and then I'll think of like a different way to start it. Then I'll create a whole different document and restart it there. Same thing with a different story, or like I put different ideas there and then I'm like, ooh, that sounds really cool. Then I'll jump to something else. My mind is always all over the place, and I feel like now it's a lot better. But that was always have been my brain, essentially, when it came to writing. So yeah, jumped to writing a little bit more, and then at work things were always chaotic. I worked worked at a daycare center, and I did that for about 2 years. For anyone who works in childcare, whoever works in education, you know the struggles. It's a lot. It's a lot on the mental, it's a lot on the physical, it's a lot on the emotional, and it was very hard to like find the passion, the drive, the time, quote unquote time, because I did have time essentially. Like at the end of the day, I had time, but I just chose not to. I was still reading, but I wasn't writing. So I really was just like reading, maybe scrolling on Instagram, watching YouTube videos, especially watching YouTube videos on writing, which sounds very counterintuitive because I wasn't actually doing anything with that information. I was just consuming the information and, hyping other content creators. But that's really what my start was with writing, going back to last year. And then with this year, after not doing blogging and doing writing a little bit more, I did stop for a little bit again because I revamped my story again. I've said this before in maybe two other previous videos, but for Project Leo and Dahlia, this is like my fifth revision because I can never find like an actual, I wouldn't say I couldn't find an actual focal point, but I couldn't really figure out how to navigate my characters. Like I knew I wanted to have my main character, Dahlia. I wanted to have my male main character, her slash her love interest, Leo. Like I wanted that. But I just couldn't figure out like their whys. I couldn't figure out like maybe what their conflict would be. I had a little bit of idea of what their conflict was within each other, but not within themselves. So it was a lot of revamping that. I used resources from Abbie Emmons to really figure out what their wants were, their whys, all that kind of stuff. And at the time, I thought I had like a pretty good grasp on it, but I did not. And now with this fifth revision, things are a lot more cohesive. These characters feel even more real than they have before. And they feel just so jarring and so emotional and so raw. And it's kind of scary because there are elements of me in at least Dahlia. But then when it comes to writing Leo, I was still just trying to create a male main character who just has a lot going on with him personally, mentally, but also within his family as well because my male main character, he is Korean. So delving more into the world of Korea because I've always been a K-pop fan. I've always been fascinated with Korean culture. So I really just wanted to take a character and really make him as much of a, I wouldn't just want to say like a true representation of, of a Korean, South Korean guy type of thing, but just make sure that he wasn't a stereotypical Korean guy. I didn't want him to be exactly what you see in K dramas. I love me a K drama, but I didn't want to be like that stereotypical version of a K drama character. I wanted him to just be like very raw, very reeling, someone who deals with mental health, but also has like a different upbringing because not every Korean person has like the same family dynamics. They don't have the same background. Just pretty much, I just wanted to make him like a real dude. I just want to make him a real dude. Dahlia is definitely a real girl because obviously there's elements of me in her, but also just someone who is still soft, even with what she's been through. She's still very much connected to her family with what's left of her family. You'll find out even more about that. What's left of her family and connected to what's left of her friends. More information for you to find out. But yeah, just curating characters that feel so real and ones that people can connect to. So I'm still working on it. I'm not done with this story yet at all. I'm like just now getting to the middle. Like I'm this close to the middle, essentially. Like Jesus Christ. Well, that's a lot to say. It was just like that's just the beginning of my writing journey. That was a lot. I feel like that was a lot, but essential. All right. So that was the beginning. Now this is like the middle, not even like really the middle. Towards the end of this year, 2024. I started rewriting Leo and Dahlia. I created my document on October. I have my iPad over here to the side of what to write. That's why I'm looking over here. I opened it. Well, I started this version, this newer version in October. I had a version before this one. I think it was around like August and September when I was really working on it a lot, but then somehow, some way, I lost that document and I had like 100 pages worth. Was it 100 pages? I don't even remember. No, that's 100 pages of my other story. Sorry. But I did have quite a bit written in that document. So I was pissed off, obviously, because I couldn't find it anywhere. I swore I sent a copy to the main account that I use because I use it on a different account and I still have that email. So it's not like I deleted the, deleted that account and deleted that email. But I guess it didn't connect over. Whatever. But that one I felt very confident with it at the time. But then since losing it, I was like, shit, I gotta start all over again, really. So with this one, started in October, October 7th specifically. And the last time I worked on it was on the 28th. So most of the month I spent on this document. And within that month, I wrote, I'm going to pull this up all the way. I wrote 773 words. Cannot speak. And I would say for someone writing this within like the span of a month, really 20, 21 days, that's not bad for me because I've written way less across years when it comes to not only working on this project, but working on Project Fury. Now, that one I do have 100 pages on, that's going to get restarted all over again. Of course, that is. But this one is a lot better. I feel like I have like a better handle on the setting, the characters, that type of thing. But that's just from the document. After writing on Google Docs, I actually switched over to Ellipsis, which is a writing platform. It's a newer writing platform where obviously it's, yeah, you're right. So on Ellipsis, it's just like, I wouldn't say it's like the other websites. It's a little bit different in terms of like what you are able to do. They have like different folders you can create because I was gonna try doing Scrivener, but I couldn't understand the like text side of it. But Ellipsis is very easy to understand, very easy to navigate. It's a newer writing website, and they also have constant updates too as well. So I started doing writing on there. And from there, I actually transferred some stuff over to a Word document. Granted, I'm using Word document because I'm back in school now, so it's free essentially. Because when it comes to like using Microsoft Word and all that stuff, you actually got to pay for it, which is ridiculous. Like now we got to pay for everything. Like it's literally getting out of hand. I can't even freaking open up a Microsoft Word document without having to pay for it. It's really stupid. Okay, so I went ahead and pulled up my Ellipsis account and I just copy and pasted what I had from Google Docs into that document. So together from what I wrote then and how much I've written since then, on the beginning, I literally labeled it first draft beginning. So in my beginning, I have 13,167 words. That's still quite a bit for me, especially for a beginning. When I literally think about a beginning of a story, I feel like it has less words than that, but I really felt like I needed to really have a few chapters of both Leo and Dahlia so you could really kind of get an understanding of who they are as people and what is really their relationship or even lack of relationship at the time. And then for my rising action section, because I labeled it separately because I was a little bit overwhelmed with everything that I had to like pinpoint. This is when I actually finally created a freaking plan for my story with like not even saying like, oh, in this chapter exactly this is gonna happen, but with like a rough idea of like this chapter is gonna be more focusing on Dahlia's turmoil with going back to school, Leo's turmoil or whatever. Maybe just hanging out with friends, you get to know like his friends, get to know his family, that type of thing. At least just like briefly setting it up like that. But in this rising action, I have 13,494 words. And then I created a document of different rising action points that I wanted to hit along the way. So that was just like a regular, pinpoints that I wanted to hit. That was about like 372 words of just what I should be on the lookout for. And then a little bit of what I would presume to be my middle, or at least like the messy middle before it really gets there. Um, just like what it actually would kind of look like and what a middle essentially looks like in a story, because since I mostly just write because I love writing and I love reading, but I don't know all of the actual terms for things. Like, we've been writing since like grade school when it comes to like a beginning, middle, and end type of thing. When it comes to like creative writing, I never took like a creative writing class. I never had that education side of writing. I just always did it because I felt like it and I wanted to. Like the same thing with poetry. I knew like the basics of poetry, but I would just create because I wanted to create. And I didn't really have the education side of it. So I feel like that's around the time too where I really was just like trying to really create a story, like an actual story with like a beginning, a middle, and an end, with complex characters, with character change, character growth, implementing certain things that make them question themselves, question each other in their environment, that type of thing. Really trying to make a story like come to life, really. All right, so now moving from ellipsis to Word document, I will still end up I'll still end up using ellipsis when it comes to just like my other projects too as well. I just felt like putting it in Word document would be easier, especially to see it in like a book format. At least in my mindset it was, but I can't seem to see that setting on my iPad, obviously because I'm on my iPad. Everything needs to be used on a desktop to see all the extra details, which is that's just my opinion on that. But on my Microsoft Word document, on the document, I started it in November. It says November 22nd. And the last time it was modified was obviously this morning when I'm filming this, December 17th. And I will have to say, this is the most I've written ever. So, taking into account what I wrote so far with the beginning and the middle, that's like, I don't even know how many words that is because I can't do math right now. But I would say like upwards of like 26,000 words because if it's 1313, give and take those other pages. But like at max 30,000 words, absolute max. And then moving it over to the Word document, there's some things that I've changed. Obviously some things that I've taken out, but as of a whole of the entire document, I have 37,546 words, which is a lot. That's including my excerpt at the beginning on my first page, and I have 91 pages written as of today, December 17th. Forgot the day that fast. Which is a lot. It is a lot for me, especially for this story, because it's been a long time coming to get to this point with briefly having, I think I had max like 10, 15 pages max done in the previous versions of this story. So this one is very much so like this is gonna be it, really much. Even though it is my first draft, but this version is going to be the version that I will be publishing. I'm still trying to figure out if I want to do self-publishing for this one or do traditional publishing, at least try to query. I'll probably just be self-publishing because there's a lot of different ideas that I have that I want to promote this story. And yeah, like I actually want to try to like do this on my own. I have one story up. It's fine. We don't have to really acknowledge that story, but this one, like, I really want to do the work and put in the time to actually like promote it. Um, do all the fun stuff, of being a self-published author. Really put myself out there, put my work out there, and start writing other different things too as well. there's just a lot that I want to do with this story, and I really want to just like showcase it and show you all exactly what's been going on behind the scenes with writing this. So I feel like that's kind of like what this video is. It's like not even just like a stats update type of thing. It's also just like knowing behind the scenes of what the story kind of looks like, what has been going on with it, how many times I how many times I've gotten to this point, but just showing that when it comes to writing, it's never going to be your best version. It's never going to be your final version. You're always going to be rewriting, revising, editing. You're constantly going to be editing because it's what we do as writers. That's part of the job of writing. Like you're not going to make some flawless piece as your first one and it's like amazing and you get New York's bestseller like on your first story. It's like, no, even if it is like your first story, like there's a lot that goes into it and really like putting your work out there, work that you feel proud of actually, not just something you threw together. Like this isn't like some assignments in high school where you just like throw some shit together and then you just like switch up a few things and then not even like switch up a few things, you just like throw some shit together and it sounds cool and you get like a B minus on it and you're like, that's fine enough with me. I don't even need to get an A. You're satisfied with just getting what you have as long as it's above a C or maybe even just a C, you're fine with that. But when it comes to like writing and wanting to be an author and really wanting to like hone your craft and get better at it, it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of years to do this. I've been doing this for like actually writing. I've been writing since like 2020. Really, 2020, 2019, roughly around that time because that's when I wrote my first story. And I would say that even in the span of 4 going on 5 years, my writing has gotten better because at first that was absolute trash. Like it was not my best work. All right, so what does that mean for the future of writing for me? That means doing more. So like last night I was like partially asleep, partially not. I literally just got like a few ideas and I couldn't fall asleep without writing it down because I didn't want to lose them because I have a tendency to do that. Like if I don't write it down, if I don't write it somewhere, if I don't put it in my notes, I will forget by the time I wake up. And a lot of the times I get like really good ideas right before I go to sleep. So it's kind of like I need to put it down somewhere. But I did put it in my notes. It's on my phone, which is what I'm filming on, so I can't really like pull it up anyhow. I didn't send it to my iPad or whatever, but from what I remember, I just have like different ideas when it comes to marketing this book and just different things that I need to do on my end. So like I want to start creating a newsletter and creating my own author site. So really showing who I am. Yeah, just putting that up, making a site. It's definitely gonna be like in a free trial period for right now until, I can get some funds and actually like, pay for it type of thing. Maybe get like my own domain again. But this one will actually literally just be like just me as an author and a writer essentially putting my putting my professional foot forward really when it comes to like writing. So creating a newsletter, creating my author website, and really connecting with you all here on YouTube, connecting people with on Instagram because my Instagram has been growing. It's been growing a lot better than it ever has ever. Um and I don't know what's made it do that. And it's not like, oh my goodness, I have like over like 100,000 followers, but it's like I'm slowly gaining followers, I'm slowly gaining traction, and I don't know what's changed. I don't know if it's the algorithm, I don't know if it's because I've been posting a little bit more frequently, even sometimes when I do take breaks, but like still, maybe because I'm just interacting more. I don't know. I don't get algorithms. I'm still learning. Like it sounds like a lot of math. So on my end, it just doesn't make sense. I just do what I can. That was a little bit of a rant, but like I have an idea to maybe do like an ink box tattoo. People do people have like ink box tattoos? I think so, but I feel like that would be a very cool idea because Leo is, he's a hot Korean boy with tattoos. So I was thinking about doing like the tattoo that I described in the story, put that on ink box. That would be something that's a little bit cute, creative, that's different, that type of thing for representing both characters. So that'll be like Leo's side of it, and also like curating what he would write as music because he is a musician. Just really putting that out in, I don't even know, like in the newsletter, maybe like a song that he would write, or maybe like a phrase or artist that he would really connect to, creating different playlists for him and for and Dahlia, because I do have their own playlist too. So maybe showcasing that a little bit more in a newsletter, but also just like sharing it more. So then people can like listen along and kind of get an idea of what the story kind of looks like, and really try to really connect with the characters and what they're going through. Yeah, I just have like different ideas kind of like that. Maybe eventually like in the future I would do like actually curate like maybe like a small group of people, maybe like 30 people who would get like a surprise um of different things that represent Dahlia in a box. So kind of like just like little trinkets and stuff like that, like different like antiques that kind of represent her. They will all be cleansed because I believe in cleansing your antiques and your vintage stuff wholeheartedly. But doing different stuff like that, things that are just like so out of nowhere, you don't really think about it. That's really unique to their story, really unique to them. Those are just like spitballing ideas. Like I had some other stuff written down of what I want to do in terms of like promoting and marketing the book. I know I need to do better with promoting the book on my Instagram, but the algorithm just the algorithm doesn't do what it's supposed to do. So it's very much hard to like get people to actually see it if you're not boost posting, like if you're not paying for it. It's just hard to do. But I might go back to like using my Pinterest to do that a little bit more. I don't know. But yeah, those are just a few things that I have in mind with promoting the story and promoting myself more, and just like coming on here and just talking. Like I don't have to do like these are 5 books that will change your life. Like I could really just come on here and just talk exactly like this because I feel like I want to showcase more of my personality and more of just like the chill vibes, really connect and really foster a community with readers, writers, published, unpublished, just like people in general within the reading and the writing space. I'm like actively on Threads, so if you want to follow me, I'm on Threads at Cierra Reads and Writes. Same thing on Instagram too as well. You can follow me there if you want to. You can check out my Pinterest if you want to. I still get some views on there somehow, some way. I'm still shocked. But yeah, just like really having the experience in networking with other professionals, networking with different authors, networking with different book companies. Really get more into writing and reading, get more into those spaces. So like going to actual events, um, going to different like book expos, that type of thing, and really just like putting myself out there, networking, connecting, having really cool connections. Like 2025 me is everywhere but the house. Even if I'm in the house, I'm doing stuff like this. Like I'm filming, I'm editing, but I'm also relaxing too because I love me a relaxed day. Like I'm still like playing Sims, I'm still doing things that I love to do, but I'm out there more because I have literally spent so much I spent all of my 20s essentially. I spent all of my 20s indoors. Like my first actual job was in 2020. During the pandemic was when I got like my first actual job, and it was being a virtual student success coach. And it was a fun experience, but I was at home. I really didn't go out much. I didn't really have anything in mind of what I wanted to do. I didn't have any money to go anywhere really, so I really didn't get out all that much. So 2025 me is in the streets, all the time, but doing stuff that I want to do in the streets. So like going to book expos, networking, going to events, speaking engagements, just getting a lay of the land and becoming more of like a professional in that sense, in that space, outside of my 10 years in childcare and early education. So it's going to be like a big shift, I know, but I'm excited for it and I would love to get into it more, just like really put myself out there even more. But that's a lot. I really just said a lot. We went from literally from talking about like my book stats to me. But I feel like that's fine because I mean you're supposed to know a little bit about me anyway. And I even just like my goals, but like knowing me as a person and who I am. So you've learned that I can talk. I can talk a lot. So I guess that's the end of this video. If you like this video, you can go ahead and like it. If you like to hear me rant and talk about whatever the hell I even talk about, I don't even remember what I even talked about now at this point. If you liked anything that I said, if you like anything that I say in my other videos, go ahead and subscribe. Check out my other content. I talk about books. I don't know what else to say. Now I don't know what else to say. I think I've said literally everything. Drop in the comments below let's just do 3 hearts. I don't care the color. Just drop in 3 hearts in the comments below if you liked anything that I talked about in this video. If you want to hear more, let me know. Yeah, and until next time, bye.